heat must be getting in my head. We'll call this the first try. Hello and welcome to Flick in Reel, your friendly neighborhood fan cast. We are your source for news, reviews, and daily discourse. I am your host, Jesse Swift, accompanied as always by Mr. Scott Fox. How are you doing?
Good morning. We're really good. Excited about the topics we got to talk about today and just trying to survive the heat. It is currently 9 a.m. in Washington and the temperature is already over 80 degrees. And it's supposed to crack 100 today.
Yeah,
and Jesse, I'm not a scientist, but looking at the little vault in your ceilings means you have about 6 inches of ceiling joist rafter space before that heat penetrates to that upper room that you live in.
Dude, it's so hot in here. And as we were talking about before, I realized that once again I did not click the live button because heat stroke. I don't know. I have an ice chest, a styrofoam ice chest full of 20 pounds of, well, half water now, and a fan blowing into it that I think is cooling off my floor. I took a shower this morning. You can't tell. And that's where we're at today. So
it does not get the temperature we're dealing with. It's supposed to be 100 degrees today, 106 tomorrow, 115 on Monday, which is, I think, one of the news things said only 3 times in the last 100 years has it cracked 110. And this is going to be possibly the hottest on record ever.
Pray for me. I ordered an AC unit on like Tuesday, and it's supposed to be here today.
Well, hopefully their machine can deliver it without breaking down in the heat.
With the tires melting onto the road.
Well, then they could plug in the AC in the truck and just cool everything back off on their way to deliver it to you. It's ridiculous. The great thing is I do have an RV, so worst case scenario, if my portable AC in my house doesn't work, I will go sit in my RV in the shade with the AC on all day. Whatever you have to do to survive. 115 degrees is no joke. And by the way, for all the people complaining or saying that we're wusses, it doesn't get over 90 very often in Washington. Usually mid 80s is the summer temp. When it does get to 90, it's really hot. When you crack 100, it's freakishly hot here. And it's going to be multiple days of it.
Normally I'd be wearing like this is my first show in shorts. You see this? This is me I'm not comfortable right now.
The fact that it's 9 a.m. and it's already 80 degrees with a real feel of 86, like come on.
Dude,
it's stupid hot.
Protruding like BO right now. And
a good thing they don't have smell-o-vision.
Hey Brian. How's it going, buddy? Oh, you know what? Brian actually, I think, was talking about joining the show, and I think I was going to send the link, and I spaced out while doing some work. Brian, message me on Facebook if you still wanted the link. Anyways, Brian's a good buddy from Schmodown community and stuff like that. He's doing a lot to help me study so that when the Jackal comes back in action, we can crack down. Anyways, we have some topics today. The first one I'll bring up here is they've been putting out a lot of trailers so far. We've been having Black Widow, Eternals, the first Shang-CHI trailer, No Way Home trailer is right around the corner. But we got our second look at Shang-CHI and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, I don't know about you. I really like this trailer. The first one got me like, oh, cool. Yes, next Marvel movie. Give me, because I love Marvel. This one is like, I'm pumped.
Yeah. Well, the first trailer. Wait, you guys wear pants on your show? Thank you, Monty. The first trailer for Shang-Chi was really some action stuff, but it did nothing, and it was introducing the character, but it didn't do anything for storyline. It gave you no plot details, anything like that. This one gave hints of what the point of the movie is going to be, so you can at least grab something from the story, which was nice. And yes, it did get me far more pumped up. When I first watched the first trailer, I was like, all right, it's another Marvel action movie. Cool. It looked really cool, but it didn't really do anything for me. This one made me want to go out and see the movie, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. Plus, there were some hidden teasers in this one, which were outstanding.
Oops.
I think I'll wait for Swift to get back on.
I was just
Oh yeah. But the teasers in the trailer, especially, I love how Marvel will take a random thing in order to pull all the Marvel universe back together. And we see this fight sequence in a cage, and they're going really old school. Like, this is original MCU type of villain coming all the way back, which I'm excited for. Who was in the trailer, Swift?
Well, the first time I watched it, which I don't recommend doing, I was like in and out of like heavy traffic, but I just put it on my dash and hit play. So one, it's small screen on my dash, and I'm mostly looking at the road, mostly. And I saw it, and I was like, oh, cool. The music was fun. The action was fun. We got to see some more Ten Ring stuff. And then I go to like all my social medias, and everyone's like, Abomination. And I was like, wait, when? What? Anyways, I want to welcome onto the stream. He's been on the channel once or twice before, but we got to have him on more. He's got great insight, especially when it comes to Marvel content. He is my good buddy, Brian. And I say good buddy, Brian, because Brian,
Hello.
Please say your last name for all of us, because I'm awful at it.
Avalosino.
That's what
So
I said.
Brian it is.
Brian
Yes,
A.
yeah, exactly. Let's
I'm
put
not
it this
even gonna
way. I'm
lie.
a teacher, and the kids call me Mr. A. That's
there
it.
you go.
So-
Sometimes I forget. I feel like I cheated life by getting an 8-letter name, and Scott Fox are about impossible to mispronounce.
Beautiful.
Can get away with
Perfect.
almost anything. And I hear people with the Italian or European names, and you're just like, okay,
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and bypass.
Me and Scott, we have your white bread for the day, and then Brian's like, add a little bit of spice.
a little bit of Italian there. So other than that, yeah, no. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I love to have you on the show, because I was like, man, I love when it's just me and Scott, but it's often really fun to have a third voice to talk shop with.
Well, if
So
there's one thing I enjoy talking about, it is anticipating trailers and what does it all mean.
Especially of the Marvel variety, right? I assume
Oh,
that after
absolutely.
you're done with Shang-CHI, you're just going to see yourself out.
No, never.
So we were just talking about the reveal, the tying together of the MCU going way back to the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, and they sneak in Abomination in this trailer, and
Absolutely.
The trailer did a lot of really good stuff for me. If you take the Abomination portion out, I really liked the trailer. I think it was just a good little Easter egg hidden inside of it. You see this giant monster, and you take a second look, and you're like, holy crap. Like, they brought back Tim Roth's Abomination, which I love Tim Roth in that movie.
His fins, his comic book fins.
Yes.
Yes.
His little ears.
Which makes sense, because I feel like the Abomination's like constantly mutating, kind of. Becoming
Yeah, I
more
mean, he is a giant.
Abomination.
Yeah, he's just this thing. So, I mean,
He's named
it
quite
makes
appropriately.
sense. Yeah, if he's gonna be some weird looking thing, the name fits.
Between that and the dragon sneaking into the trailer, that seemed to overwhelm the whole thing. But it was a really good trailer for me. For storyline, it made me really feel more invested in what's coming. Like, I really want to see this because I want to see what it's all about. But online, you were talking about the social media. Like, the social media was overwhelmed with Abomination number one, and then the dragon. And it's like, okay, which by the way looked a lot like Falcor to me. And
possibly, it's Abomination fighting Wong, because somebody's casting sorcery there, and I'm like,
that's what it looks like. Like, when you slow it down, it is very much the figure of Wong.
I would say that I was jumping a bit if it was just like it looked like a silhouette from the background. Like, oh my gosh, is that Wong? Is it two Asian actors in the same movie?
But
like,
he's holding up the shield. Yes.
Yeah.
He cast the shield, which is like to defend himself. It was kind of perfect.
That for me raises the most questions. Not that Abomination's in it, because that's weird. But why is Abomination Wong fighting in a cage? I'm so lost.
Probably because they want a little, he wants a little undercover fight club. So
hello,
why not?
Shug. Shug.
Hi, Shug.
Just, coming in from work, I believe. So I appreciate you spending the time with us. And hopefully anyone that's here just sticks around the next couple hours, because I'll take this moment to plug. We will have at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Shark Jumpers, and I will be joined by my co-host from my previous podcast, Fan Splash, and that is Tyler Hall. Scott knows him well. And then, of course, Cal himself, Chris Anthony Lopez from The Real Entertainment and Who Are They? And then Bethany Deacon from What the Show. And you can see what we will be talking about there. X-Men, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, and I will be bringing something of my own to the show as well.
Ooh.
Anyways, that's why I always wear this shirt on every other Saturday. So I do laundry at least once every 2 weeks.
You've got a good rotation of 2 shirts.
Yeah,
that's a standard bachelor.
I'm about to cut the sleeves off it, though.
We can only call you a bachelor for what, about 2 more months, because we're in the home stretch here before wedding day, in the first weekend in September, correct? I should know that since I need to be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to make sure you wrap everything up on the 4th, because the 5th is my birthday. So just get one day. Okay,
that makes sense.
Want to make it clear. Okay.
All right. And yet, I think one of the things I thought or I really enjoyed about the trailer is that a lot of people get scared of the word adapting, or if Marvel changes something. But the 10 rings is definitely an adapted principle, because they were literally like 10 rings on your fingers that the Mandarin had that each controlled their own element. And not that there was a problem with that, but I understand that. I forgot where I heard this, but they're like, it's kind of similar to the Infinity Gauntlet that we just did. If we have another hand device thing, and so they made the rings actual bands. And the second I visually saw it, I was like, that's cool. I like that, actually. That looks really cool. And visually, it looks awesome. I think they look more powerful. I think they're a little less. They don't look like such a mustache twirling villain utensil that they have. But
I agree. At first, I was like, from the first trailer, I was like, I don't see any rings on anyone's fingers.
Good question, Pat. Good question.
I'm very curious to see how Abomination goes from that
is Captain Planet in Shang-Chi.
Oh man,
is that too
canon
old for Brian?
Maybe. No, I'm older than you. What are you talking about? As far as the rings, though, I kind of dig it. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for everything Marvel does.
Yes,
absolutely. There's an absolute reason for everything that they do. So if they were like, you know what? No, we don't want him to have the 10 rings on his fingers. We want to use these band type things. It makes sense. I mean, it would be kind of interesting and annoying, I think, to constantly be having 10 rings on your fingers and constantly having to carry those around. Make sure you have every single one of them, and it just kind of gets a little wonky. Plus, he's very much a hand-to-hand combat type person. So
right, yeah, you got to punch with rings on. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense.
Another change, because they've done a few of them, is that Shang-Chi's father's name was Fu Manchu.
Of course,
it's not great. It's not. It doesn't. Yeah. It's not a great look.
We've outgrown that.
Wen Wu, and we got at the same time a redemption for the Mandarin, because sorry, Chris and several other people, I think Iron Man 3 is the worst Marvel movie up to date so far. And Mandarin is part of that. So I appreciate that we're getting this. It's still an adaptation. Now, I was okay the first time. In Iron Man 3, when I thought it was just going to be a terrorist and like Ben Kingsley, I was like, okay, I can accept this adaptation. Yeah. But then they pooped on it. And so now they are adapting the Mandarin again, but it seems more faithful to the Mandarin that we know.
Can I just say that when I saw the rings kind of being more bracelet across the arms, and he's got them loaded up there, I immediately thought Kung Fu Hustle, where the guy's got the rings on his arms in order to help him punch harder, I guess. That visual is like, while a completely different movie and terrible, but also highly entertaining. it made me just visually think Kung Fu Hustle. But it was nice to see that they did. I agree with Jesse that they used a different medium for the rings as opposed to just being on the hand, and that we're not going to see the Ben Kingsley revisited as Mandarin because they've already, like you touched on, they poo-pooed on that character and used him in the least artful way they could have used him for a story.
And what I like is like thematically, we're getting something that we haven't seen in a Marvel movie yet. We've had so many. Oh, I have to take that back. I was going to say we've had so many Marvel movies about family. I was going to say we haven't had one really where the dad's the villain, but then I thought Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Ego. But there's still something more unique about this. Star-Lord, Peter Quill was not raised by Ego, and this is the shadow that he hasn't been able to escape his entire life, that he's known about his entire life. The reason he is the way that he is because of his dad. So I think it makes a really interesting dynamic for like a final fight and for everything that's going on. And when they're fighting over the rings, and they like each have like I think 3 and there's like 2 in the middle or vice versa. It's visually stunning. You can feel the tension. I think Simu Liu is going to crush this role. If you guys have seen him at all in Kim's Convenience, that show is hilarious. And he's one of the best parts of it.
Yeah. I mean, the guy petitioned to be this character. Like this is the man's dream role and he manifested it. So if you don't think he put absolutely everything into this, you're crazy. Because I mean, how many people have been like, I'm going to be a Marvel character and I'm going to start my own franchise and and the guy did it. So like, he's not going to half-ass 1 second of this whole entire thing. So I'm excited. And, Marvel doesn't just draft nobodies to play their characters.
They do, but they're nobodies with talent.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
There's a reason that you'll see just this like person that you're not used to seeing on screen.
Well, the number of breakout stars who've maybe had a couple of small roles, but then come in and picked up a role in the MCU and it launched their career.
Yeah.
Onto a different level. And this has all the potential to do that. And one of the things I was thinking about with the trailer is Marvel does a great job of also hiding a lot of stuff in their trailers or revealing a lot of stuff that turns out to not be as much as you thought.
Yeah.
And so they'll show you something, you're like, this is incredible. And then it turns out that's first act junk that is all superficial
Hulk
early.
Running with everybody in Infinity War.
Yes, and then remove him digitally at the end of the movie.
Or they make you think Fing Fang Foom is in it, and he's clear. He's definitely not.
There's
right, Jesse.
Yeah, he's the Great Protector. Look up Shang-Chi Funko Pop's dragon. It's that easy. And if it is Fing Fang Foom, I'm gonna rage because it'll be J.J. Abrams all over again. Khan's not in this movie.
Yeah, there's no way. That Funko that Jesse's talking about has been out and been shown since almost December. So and the colors are white and red. Fing Fang Foom is green.
Yeah.
Period. So unless they're pulling a fast one on us, which I don't think they are.
I think we're allowed to have dragons that aren't Fin Fang Foom. I'm excited for a dragon. I'm not excited because it's Fin Fang Foom. Like, I don't need that. I want a dragon in Marvel. That's badass.
Yeah. What if Shenron and we get some weird crossover between DBZ and but then where are the Dragon Balls at?
It makes sense.
How do we make our wish?
We're getting dragons in this movie, and then Secret Invasion. We're getting Daenerys Stormborn, Emilia Clarke. So
I hope she sticks around for a while.
Absolutely. All right, moving on to our next topic. But before we do, just a reminder to those watching, if you want to help support the channel so that we can keep it going, have on our fun guest, up the production from time to time, and just overall do more. Maybe have more shows. Just have you click that link right down there at www.streamlabs.com/flickinreel. Any of your donations will help the channel and be greatly appreciated. Yeah, thank you. And we'll read your questions out loud, of course, obviously. Look at me. Totally scripted. I did great. All right, moving on to the next topic. Before we start talking about DC, because we do have a couple DC topics, I want to talk about this little trailer that popped up a day or two ago that I thoroughly enjoyed. And that is The Harder They Fall.
Oh my gosh.
What?
This was so good.
What a cast. And it's going to be on Netflix, too. So I am...
Yeah.
Oh, it says and select theaters. If it's in theaters, I'm going. If it's
100%
here, then I'll Netflix it. But I'm seeing this movie immediately. I don't know what it is. I'm very spotty with Westerns. Like all the classics
Same.
I haven't seen. Like Unforgiven, Tombstone. There's all these ones that come up every day and I still haven't seen them.
You haven't seen either of those two?
I know. But then you go to Shanghai Noon and I've seen it like 30 times. And I really enjoyed the new Magnificent
Cowboys
Seven.
and Aliens.
Yes.
I've only seen that once. But Antoine Fuqua's Magnificent Seven with Chris Pratt and like Ethan Hawke, and so I really enjoyed that movie. Vincent D'Onofrio. I thought it was it was fun. So like, I'm
a big time Western fan, and this one looked like the classic Westerns. As far as just the feel of it, everything, the whole bank or train robbery, and it turns out they're not stealing money; they're rescuing Idris Elba. The way it all lines out in the gang that he has, they're all awesome. The whole thing from start to finish, it felt very much like a Django, as far as like how stylized the trailer and everything was, and kind of the feel of the movie. Clearly the violence is taken to the level of the Tarantino where you shoot somebody, the whole blows massive out the backside and they go flying through the air, which by the way, doesn't actually happen when you shoot people, but it looks amazing on film.
The main character, Nat Love, played by Jonathan Majors, Kang the Conqueror himself. So that's exciting. I got a little synopsis right here because I watched the trailer a couple times, but it's nice to actually get a synopsis of what's going on. It says, when outlaw Nat Love, Jonathan Majors, discovers that his enemy Rufus Buck, I love the names here. This is so West, but I heard this was based on a true story.
Oh,
Harder They Fall. I think these are all real historical characters. I was watching a video on it yesterday, so that's incredible. Idris Elba is being released from prison. He rounds up his gang to track Rufus down and seek revenge. Those riding with him in this assured, righteously new school Western include his former love, Stagecoach Mary, which I think I've heard before possibly, played by Zazie Beetz, who I love Zazie Beetz. She was great in The Joker for the little bit that she was in there, and obviously she shined as Domino. And his right and left hand men, hot-tempered Bill Pickett, Eddie Gathegi, I'm not as familiar with, and fast-drawing Jim Beckworth, R.J. Seiler, and a surprising adversary turned ally. Rufus Black has his own fearsome crew, including treacherous Trudy Smith, it's Regina King, and Cherokee Bill, Lakeith Stanfield, who I love Lakeith Stanfield. I thought he was awesome in Knives Out. And they are not a group that knows how to lose. Directed by, is it James Samuel? I'm not familiar with him, but this movie looks just absolutely off the chain.
I completely agree. I saw this and I was like, what is this? Like, I've heard nothing of this, and this sounds and
Netflix is the worst at advertising their stuff.
Yeah, but then they're kind of clever in the fact that they don't tell you anything, and then they drop this bomb, and then you immediately go, when is this coming out? And it's like 2 weeks, and you're like, I'm watching this. I'm making sure that I'm watching this in 2 weeks.
Right.
So it's like stupid genius, because it's like, because of the fact that you just see this and you're going to now watch it so soon. Do I think that the ticket sales, if you're going to try to see it live, might be less? Probably. Absolutely. But I have a feeling they don't care, because they're getting those views off of the closeness of how they just dropped it. Oh, hey, guess what? It's coming out in 2 weeks. And this movie looks wild.
It looks like
It
a
looks
lot of fun.
really, really good. And also the thing with that Netflix does do well is because of the streaming and everything else. Once it picks up momentum and the word gets out from other people, and they have their top trending, that movie's going to be pinned at #1 for a couple weeks as the hottest thing on Netflix. And that could even draw people to want to go see it in the theater, because there's been movies that I've seen that I've immediately been like, man, this is a theater experience type of movie, and I should have gone and seen it the other way. And this one would probably have that feel. It looks outstanding. Anything with Idris Elba right now seems to be gold.
Idris Elba, he's so hot right now.
How did it? Was I the only one that, like, when they opened the safe and there's a person there and it's Idris Elba, I'm like, yeah, that tracks. Like, I was like,
it makes sense. It makes total sense.
That's who I would expect to be inside.
Who else are you gonna have?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, oh yeah, that's probably who would be.
The only thing I had heard about this movie is that Jonathan Majors was in it. So when they showed the back, I was like, that's not Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
No, Idris Elba is such a good actor. And then also just his presence on screen. He is an intimidating figure, or he can paint an intimidating figure.
Like, I don't know how everyone feels about it, but I watched Hobbs and Shaw and I was like, he's having a great time.
I like that movie a lot, and I like him as the bad guy. He's very, like, that slick kind of Bondy villain where it's like,
oh yeah, he'd be a great Bond villain.
Yeah. So yes, I agree with you.
Or a great Bond.
Well, I think it doesn't really matter what you put him in. He'd be good in almost any role. He's
Very
just
true.
that versatile, and he can bring whatever you need into a role. So to see him as the leader of the gang is kind of it was a perfect fit. Fit. But that movie, you sent it in the list of things we're going to be doing today, and so I watched it last night, and I was like, all right, we'll see what this is. And then when I watched it, I'm like, how have I not heard about this?
Yeah,
like,
because it's Netflix.
I'm subscribed to so many things on YouTube that so many trailers come my way, and I saw it like the first time I scrolled by it, and then after I saw it pop up several times, I was like, okay, let's see what this is. And I was like, wow, nope, I'll be watching that immediately.
Yeah. It just looks cool. And to me, when I saw Regina King, I was like, all right, what am I watching? Because she's amazing.
Have you seen Watchmen? I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't watched it?
No, bro, I have not watched a lot of shows lately. Okay, apparently Brian has passed away, and I need to watch Watchmen.
I'm probably I'm your average DC person. She blows this role out of the water.
Yeah,
like this is what you need to do in your free time from here on out until you finish it.
Funny phrase you put there. But I mean, yeah, I want to watch that. I say started. I got 40 minutes in the first episode, and then like I don't even have the time to watch an episode if it's not Loki, pretty much. But they have that show Warrior on HBO Max that I started watching. That's really good, also. Okay, well, I'm glad that we are now bringing in our casual DC fan into DC movie talk because we're going to talk about Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods, the first official look at the
Look at those here. Power Rangers
all dressed up. Brian, I will fight you to the death. To the death.
If they all touch their arm bracers together, they become Captain Planet. That's how that works.
Yes. Finally getting live action Captain Planet. I mean, to be honest, if those were Power Ranger suits, I'd be happy. I'm not gonna lie, because those suits are pretty dope. Ranger
movie for what it was, and then the Hadouken joke and like fatality and stuff in the first one, they worked for me. All right, so obviously the big standout in this picture here is that what did I just do here? Hang on, I full screened something on accident. That's right, guys. I'm new. This is my first time. If you didn't know, I've never streamed before in my life.
The suits are very Man of Steel-y, and I kind of dig it. Not gonna lie.
The texture is very much Man of Steel.
It's funny because that was the first time I've like been forced to stare at something, and I was like, "Oh, these are actually very similar to the Man
I
of
should have
Steel
brought up the
suit.
original Shazam outfit because it's such a vast improvement.
This is so much
Yes.
better, so much better, and they reduced the fake muscle
Yeah, let me
Yes.
bulk
Okay.
out of
Zachary
Levi's
Levi's
character?
huge right now. Like if you follow him on Instagram, Zachary Levi is huge. That
Yes.
looks resemblance like that looks like that could be his body. Whereas the
So-
other one looked like a head on a styrofoam bust.
I think the
Yeah.
difference was this time because the first movie he was bulking up to try and play the role, and so he put on some bulk, but not enough time to put on enough. But then he maintained continuing to bulk up, continuing to stay in shape to get a little bit buffer, and it doesn't take a lot more from where he was to where he is now. But that difference means that you don't have to fake the suit. The fake muscles on Shazam in the first movie, which by the way, Shazam is my favorite DCEU, other than maybe a Man of Steel might be number one. But Shazam is way up there. You know, I've been
That's kind of
that's what I'm talking about.
There's a lot of people
good.
that agree with that and agree with you that it is one of, if not the best. And you could definitely
for me,
see
it's Man of Steel and then like Wonder Woman, Shazam both hanging around the same spot.
Yeah,
Wonder Woman 84. Jesse, you're crazy. That's not the best. How
Scott,
dare you say that?
Don't get my channel thumb down.
But being a hardcore
the channel.
Yeah, like the channel and share the video.
slap a like.
Yeah, and hit for the notifications. Hit the bell icon. But the being a huge Shazam fan that I am from my childhood, I was grateful to see Shazam on screen and to have that movie, which is touches near and dear to my heart because I have children. And that movie really, if you got kids, pulls on the heartstrings hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
But then to see the visual come in line with this movie and the family and everything, it looks so good. But the textures are better, the lines are better, they're cut better. They don't have fake oversized padding for the suits. Just the aesthetic alone feels so much better. And I'm pumped for this. And then at the same timing of this, we've got this Black Adam movie going on where we're going to get all this cool stuff. And we had a little teaser of, or not a teaser, but what's his name? Pierce Brosnan talking about his Dr. Fate suit.
Yes. I cannot wait for the Dr. Fate suit. That's going to be
it got me so jacked up.
Amazing.
The fact is that DC feels like right now they're starting to do it more properly.
Yeah.
Whereas the initial wave, Warner rushed them into trying to do too much too quickly, and then they backed off. They're doing all the independent movies, singular at a time, and doing them properly. So now we're getting this much better arc picture and a fully developed more universe, as opposed to we're going to pretend this universe exists and then pulling these random people that were there at the time, but we just didn't need them in these moments. The way they're doing it now is going to be such a better treat to the entire DCEU by having all these movies done independently, correctly, and put better products out there before we start to ensemble draw people together again. I love Justice League, especially the Snyder Cut Justice League. BVS I still really enjoy, especially the Ultimate Edition. And I know I'm in the minority on a lot of that. You're muted, Jesse. But all those things are really good.
Muted
and
Jesse
one of those...
is best Jesse.
Never.
But I feel like with Shazam, with the Black Adam movie coming, with Suicide Squad, all these pieces, and even the Batman coming out, the Flash movie, I feel like we're going to have a much better broad picture of what the DCEU could be or could have been had they not messed with it. And now they're doing
Pierce
damage
Brosnan
control.
as Dr. Fate. Let's go.
We were just talking.
Yeah.
Him talking about his suit is just like, I love Pierce Brosnan as an actor. He's fantastic. He was great as Bond. He's been great in a lot of other things. And he's a very, I don't want to say underrated because people do think very highly of him, but seeing him sneak in as a superhero and being Dr. Fate, what a perfect pick. Oh, totally underutilized. But his casting, when I heard that they had cast Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, and I know this is supposed to be about the Shazam picture, but when I heard that information, I was like, are you kidding?
Well,
are you putting you're bringing Dr. Fate into the universe. Thank you. And you're bringing an incredibly accomplished actor. Other than Mamma Mia, he's not a singer. Pierce Brosnan is fantastic. And to see him playing that role as kind of the wise overseer.
I'm alive. Get out of here.
Dude, that's so
I'm
awesome.
number 2 fan.
All right, that's
so
so
good.
good today, guys.
That's like the exact opposite of what happens at my house, where it's my kids. And this one, your dad and
Grown adult.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
That's so good. So good.
Anyone wondering, I'm moving out July 31st. So.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I agree.
Those opportunities are lost, Jesse, as soon as you move out.
Yeah. I love the suits. The suits look awesome. Honestly, my biggest complaint from Shazam was just how fake the suits looked. Like, I get the man bulked up, but like, it's insulting the way that suit like, come on. There's no human on Earth that has the most perfect like slopes on the arms and stuff. He looked padded.
The shoulders, the chest, the arms, all of it.
Texture. I was just looking at a set photo, and it just looks like solid red, like tights, kind of. And I think the texture, the definition gives you a better idea of like they're actually being muscled there.
The lightning bolt looks even better on this one. The way it's laid out with gold and everything, the lightning bolt looks so much cleaner.
Yeah, and it's just cool because like the main complaint that I had of that movie is now gone. So like now I'm just like, all right, sweet, let's do this. The main
complaint you had is like a costume. Like that's not the worst thing in the world.
No, and that's big. I enjoyed Shazam. I think it's the bright spot, if you will, in a very dark DCEU. Like for the most part, it's not like, hey guys, like let's go. Aquaman does have its.
The family.
You can't say a film is dark when they have Pitbull's version of Africa in it.
That is the worst part of that whole entire movie, and should have never even came across whoever that person's mind was, because that took me out of that movie, and I will not even go into it.
The hard part about Shazam is it had the best family feel and everything, but then some of the visuals were the humor in that movie is the best that they've done in any of the DCEU movies. It had the teenage
I love
boy
jokes across the city. It was like, I can't hear you. You're like a mile away.
Yeah.
Everyone
Zachary Levi's perfect for that.
Yeah.
He is so good. His delivery was spot on for that movie. But then for the visuals with my sons, I'm like, man, the 7 Deadly Sins are you could totally tell he's a horror movie director doing that, because the visuals were like
David F. Sandberg.
Yeah, when he bites the head off the dude, my son was like, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. What did you bring us to?
Yes, well, my son was 12, almost 13, and so it wasn't too bad. But then my 5-year-old wants to watch Shazam, and so every 2 seconds I'm like, you can't see this part, you can't see this part, you can't see this. You know what? You're gonna have to just step out of the room for about the next 15 minutes. And he's like, well, just fast forward. I'm like, no, we don't do that.
What we didn't know is that the F in David F. Sandberg stands for frightening.
Yes.
I want to bring up, before we move on to our final topic, I wanted to bring up this image because we're talking about like Pierce Brosnan and just the high caliber actors and stuff that they're getting involved in the Shazam verse. It's like its secondary universe. You got Shazam and Black Adam. But look at this. What an icon. Helen
Mirren my God, I haven't seen this.
That came out last week.
Look Billy Batson is just sitting having fries and a burger with one of like the Greek gods.
That I love this, because this is like this is what makes me love Shazam. There is nothing like this movie or comic book, because it's just like it knows so well how to make something so ridiculous like fit. Like Billy Batson is a kid. he does stupid things like, hey, Greek God, let's go get some burgers. Like, and you believe it because it's like, yeah, I'd probably do the same thing. And it's funny. I don't know. That's why I was like, Jesse, you better put me on because I set an alarm and it's summer vacation. So let's go.
My bad, because I was like,
I'm kidding. It's fine.
Where are you located?
I'm in Sacramento. So
okay, so you're on the same time frame. Yeah.
And also, I know at least how late Brian was up last night because we were
you can tack another like 30, 45 when you said goodnight.
So you got up at least another level?
Or two.
Okay. We're definitely playing Diablo. But going back on track here. All right. So on the wavelength, I guess, of talking about DC, let's wrap it up with talking about this new Suicide Squad trailer, or the Suicide Squad. This movie is so much chaos, but just the most incredible way. Look, I never got a really good look at it. Look at Bloodsport's guns. What are those?
They change every single time you see any new footage. Have you noticed that? He's never once had the same looking guns. They're always different. Always
Do you
different.
think it's one of those guns that shot a kryptonite bullet into Superman's spine and put him in the ICU? I
don't think those ones. I think we're gonna get a more classic gun for that. But
my hopes were dashed at like actually seeing Bloodsport shoot Superman because James Gunn said he's actually not sure which Superman they are referring to in his own film. And I was like, this is annoying.
That tracks. It tracks.
Let me just go on record right now. Henry Cavill is Superman.
Yeah,
move on from that. How they cannot just pay that man as much money as he needs and keep him in. I'll get off on a tangent.
Yep.
Yeah.
This trailer is great, but the fact that they were able to easily explain away not having Superman in there because Bloodsport shot him with a kryptonite bullet and put him in the ICU.
Also a Van Damme movie?
Yes, it is. It's back and where he fights Bolo Young.
And your winner,
Yay! No,
Bloodsport's great. That's based on a true story, Frank Dukes. But anyways, this movie, the trailer, so good. And John Cena is so. His timing and sense of humor for John Cena are so good.
He's coming for your spot.
I will say this, as someone that did not like that when it first came out, what do they call it? The Ultimate Cut? Is that what it's the second?
Ultimate Edition, yeah.
I enjoyed it when I saw that version. So yes. I will say that.
It's significantly better. Is it perfect? No, but like it makes it cohesive. Anyways, anytime you start talking about like the Snyderverse or like DC, me and Scott will go. So
good to know.
What did we think? Okay, the trailer overall, I love that it starts out actually really tense. We get a little background. Once again, we get a sharpshooter character with a daughter that's supposed to be sympathetic.
I didn't even think about that. Don't put that into my brain. Dang you.
Sorry about it. And it's not even the same character. But I love that it all hit the fan when it seemed like she was being threatened or some aspect of her life was being threatened. And then Waller was smart enough to tell everyone to stand down. I just realized I'm getting really hot here. I can't process thoughts.
What is the current temperature inside your house?
Inside the house? I have no idea.
140. Perfect.
Probably.
I didn't need this movie like injected into my eyes immediately.
That's exactly what I texted PJ Campbell after I watched the trailer. I was like, the Suicide Squad injected into my veins. Yes.
Really? This very rarely do you see
82 degrees at not even 10 a.m.
Oh, I know it's totally different for you guys, but it's just so like funny hearing it because Sacramento, it's just like 110, 115 dry heat every day of the summer. So like when everyone else says it, I'm like, oh, that's cute. But I know it's different for you guys. So, but anyways, this movie is like one of those ones where you just see it, you're like, this is going to be good. You know it's going to be good. Like, just give it to me now. And I almost hope that I don't hype this up.
They told me he can do whatever he wants, and he's making an R-rated, goofy, violence. Like, everything about this screams James Gunn.
Yeah. If you give this man control of just whatever characters and just go do it. We've seen what he does. His track record is pretty good. So
you gotta give him stuff where he can go out there, because like they gave him Guardians of the Galaxy and he gave us Ego the Living Planet. And they give him Suicide Squad. He's like, I'm doing Starro. And I'm like, you're what?
I know. When I first heard that rumor, I was like, there's no way. And then I see the like Finn or whatever you want to call it, and I'm like, holy crap. This guy actually put Starro into this movie as a big bad. Like it, and then him in the trailer shooting out all the little mini Starros, and I'm like, oh my god. So
do you think maybe like the Thinker or somebody's definitely getting taken over by one of those little starfishes? Like that's the whole thing with Starro.
Yeah, I would assume the Thinker is somehow helping control those things, because like I know enough about Starro that like in the comics it's like they're like face huggers. So like
they're like face huggers that like warp your brain.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe he has some type of like control, like use like that, where he's controlling these people, because we don't see all the military people that they're fighting like with stars on their face. So I think he's like amplifying it maybe.
I know a lot of people are bringing up John Cena when it comes to this trailer, but I want to say once again, one of the highlights to me is King Shark. When Rick Flag gets on the walkie-talkie and he's asking to like for a lookout, he's like, "What do you see?" And the King Shark's just like, "Bird." Like, get off.
And the fact that they got Sylvester Stallone to be the voice of this giant, dumb shark that says one word every so often, like
it's just like getting Vin Diesel to do I Am Groot.
Yeah,
like
perfect.
You got this really good actor, this
example.
Superstar person, and their line is nothing.
Or
they literally do nothing.
Nominated Bradley Cooper to play a raccoon.
Yeah, you don't even see him physically on screen. And not even the mocap, because the mocap's Sean Gunn, yeah. And so it's like,
who is also in this movie as Weasel, which is one of the great jokes.
Weasel.
What is like? Is that some kind of dog? What kind of dog you think it is?
It's a werewolf.
It's a werewolf.
Next to a werewolf.
So good, and you know that he is going to kill off everyone. Like this is not going to be like the first one.
Here's possibly your safe people. Hang on. Right there. And there's a lot more people in this movie.
See, now I think that Polka Dot Man and Ratcatcher are probably not safe. And
Polka Dot Man has to stay or I will riot.
I know. I have a feeling he's going to be the character people are going to love, but I think emotional impact wise, they're going to kill him.
He goes, I'm a superhero.
I might even... I'm not going to put John Cena off the table either.
Yeah, Peacemaker, I think, is a prequel, is it? The show?
I think so. So,
I don't
know.
The only thing that'll be okay for me is if they kill Polka Dot Man in just such a humorous way. Because, like, in that first trailer, Idris Elba was like, we're all going to die. He's like, I hope so. And so, like,
and then this one, he's like, I'm a superhero. It's so good. I cannot wait for this movie. I hope I don't like set it at a level that is nothing's going to meet it because of my excitement. So I just can't wait for this movie.
Yeah,
I can't wait for the end of this broadcast where I put the sweaty shirt in the freezer and then put it on for the next show. That's what I'm looking forward to.
This trailer, it's just such a better take. If you were just thinking Suicide Squad, Pat, Henry Cavill's still awesome, but whatever. But it's
okay to disagree, Pat.
Yeah, exactly. You're wrong, but we can
just not with that.
If you, I was thinking of Suicide Squad, the first version, and then this one, and the Suicide Squad, the first one. A lot of the pre-bill leading up was that tease of the Joker, which they ended up not using whatsoever at all of any quality, and the movie sucked. But then in this one, it has such a different feel. Obviously, there's a huge difference between James Gunn and I can't even remember who directed the first Suicide Squad. David Ayer.
Yeah. Doesn't James Gunn, release the Ayer cut because we got to release the cuts for everything now.
No, because the David Ayer cut will suck for that movie too. Because there's just unless he's adding an hour of Joker footage, maybe
it would have to be a completely different film.
Yeah. But this movie you can tell right from the get go, and James Gunn is proven. He knows what he's doing. He can introduce new casts, new groupings of random people that people have never heard of, or your average fan has never heard of, and make something beautiful out of it. And this trailer alone, if the movie lives up to half as good as the hype of this trailer, it'll be 10 times better than the first Suicide Squad. The trailer was that good, and it presented itself that well that he would have to have made a million mistakes, or Warner Brothers got involved and derailed the movie. But it looks so stinking good.
Because like the whole purpose was them coming to James Gunn and be like, "We'll let you do anything."
Well, when Marvel decided to fire James Gunn over something he did 20 years ago or whatever, DC was like, "We'll take him."
Yeah.
Like
that
we need help.
Smart move.
We need desperate help. And then after he goes to a DC and Warner and starts making this movie, Marvel crawls back and is like, "Can we overreacted? Can we have you back?" We realize how bad of a mistake that was. This guy is gold.
Disney's got to realize, if they do that with any talent, whether it's actor, director, writer, or anything from their universe, DC's going to go, yoink.
Yeah.
Yep,
and
totally.
This man's a master of making you care about characters that are just ridiculous, and just you're like, why do I care about a talking tree so much?
The sacrifice of the talking tree is like the greatest sacrifice ever.
I know. That's like
when he says "we are Groot" at the very end and wraps everybody up to protect them. You're like,
yeah, right.
It's brutal.
Or you're going to sit there.
The second saddest death next to Spider-Man is Groot. I don't care what anyone says, especially with the context given by James Gunn. People are like, what were Groot's last words? And James Gunn's like, "Daddy." And I was like, yeah.
It's just like I'm so excited for this movie, but I feel like it's gonna slowly rip your heart out because you're gonna fall in love with these characters and then gone, and you're just gonna be like, I can't wait though.
I'll be honest, the only character that I think is completely safe in this whole thing is going to be Harley Quinn. I would say any other one other than Harley Quinn is subject to being knocked off in this movie, which is sad because the cast and the characters they've selected are outstanding. But Harley Quinn is the only one that I feel like they are glued to as a property that they want to continue to bring back multiple times because she fits in other types of universes as well. We've seen with Birds of Prey, anything with the Joker in the future and Batman, she can play a pivotal role in. The rest of them, if you lifted every one of them off and killed them off in this movie, the universe still can power forward. So not that I believe they're going to kill every one of them, but I'm with you. They could knock off a lot of them, and every one of them you're gonna be like, no, because I guarantee you some of them are gonna be sacrificial deaths. Like I died to save somebody else, and it's gonna be gut wrenching.
That I think Polka Dot Man.
Either Ratcatcher or Bloodsport is going to die for the other one. I think that was made apparent in the trailer.
I agree. But I'm excited. I cannot tell you how like the last time I was this excited for a DC movie. Like I'm being frank. Like I get excited because it's comic books, but this is like there are Marvel movies that I would like maybe jump to see this one. So totally. I can't wait.
I'll be honest. After seeing this trailer, I want to see this more than I want to see Eternals. And Eternals was kind of my most hype. And I know Spider-Man was up there, but if I was just to sit down and watch both these trailers side by side, I would immediately go. If I had to walk into a theater immediately after watching both trailers, I'd go, give me the Suicide Squad one, because I know that after that one, I don't feel like it's going to lead me into the next realm of DC. Whereas Eternals is like, it's a bigger thing. There's a lot more to take in. I know that I have to know a mountain of backstory, or I don't have to know a mountain of backstory, but I'm going to get a lot of that. This one, I feel like I'm going to get just a raucous ride roller coaster action movie that's going to be funny, emotional, have all the ups and downs, and it's going to have a massive payoff in the end. And so if I was to literally walk to a theater today with both of those on the screen or on the billboard out front, I would probably lean to saying, I'll watch Suicide Squad right now.
That's fair.
Which kind of hurts to say, but
it does hurt to say in here, but I completely understand where you're coming from. And God, I hope he had control of the soundtrack, because if he did, know that the soundtrack is going to be great.
His ability to pick the perfect song for the perfect moment.
And have it be used well, whereas it was just a music video in the first Suicide Squad.
To play
in Africa.
But to play an easy listening song, easy listening rock song from the 1970s in the middle of an action sequence where things are just going nuts and everyone's walking through kind of semi-slow-mo and there's still fast action, but it's the same kind of mellow rock song from the 70s. To pull that off well, it's a masterwork. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is such a great movie, is his use of the soundtrack and the songs intermixed with the action and all the emotional ups and downs of it. It's beautiful. And if he can do the same kind of thing with this, odds are I'll be pulling up the soundtrack playlist on Spotify and listening to it through, because it'll be also songs from my childhood that I love.
I couldn't agree more with you. Couldn't agree.
All right. Well, with that, I have that is my reminder to we need to wrap this up. I got a little more prep to do for, once again, Shark Jumpers coming up here in about 30 minutes. There it is, with some wonderful guests on there. Was gonna prep last night, but studying Diablo, so last minute for the win. All right, guys. Thank you so much for all being on the show. We'll give Brian a chance to do pluggy plug and let the people know where they can find you if they don't already know.
Jesus, I was not expecting a full face screen. You can find me Biavalcino on Twitter and on A Certain Point of View. If you are don't even. If you are a Schmodown person and you like Jesse, we'll have him on our show for you. No, there's nothing wrong with you. But if you're into Schmodown, A Certain Point of View, or Apocalypse Movies, where we talk about movies just like Flickin' Real.
Absolutely, because there's there's not that many people out there doing this. We're just one of the couple channels out talking about movies. And here you can always find me on Flickin' Real doing shows and biting off more than I can chew. It is my favorite pastime. Scott, where can the people find you? Looks like on Twitter.
Here. Barely on Twitter. I'm rarely on Twitter. I'm more on Facebook, but I don't even do that because social media is
the devil,
toxic. Yeah, it'll suck you in. Next thing you know, an hour of your day's gone. And I work 2 jobs. I got 4 kids. I try and be a good husband, and I have a mini farm with 125 chickens. And I
can find Scott roaming around taking
I'm Helen Mirren.
Shazam.
Amazing.
That's where you'll find me sneaking around movie sets. I wish I had that kind of life.
Me too.
That's not true. I like my life. But yeah, I'm
your
here.
life
You'll
too,
find
especially when
me
entertainment-
Saturdays doing movie news and views with
Yeah.
Jesse Swift,
That's right.
talking
That's right.
movies with cool people like Brian over here.
No, thank
having
you.
a good
Thank you.
time.
This is fun. This is great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys so much, and I'm gonna try to cool off between now and the next 30 minutes. So we will see all of you guys then. And until next time, keep it real and shark jumpers. Ooh ha ha.